So grateful to be here and very happy to discuss these incredibly important and hard to talk about topics. He has an incredible backbone and staggering moral fiber. Howie is totally committed, completely ethical, totally admirable. No pressure if you can hear this, but honestly, Howie's a hero to me.
John, you joined us before, and it was a pretty incredible kind of testimony you gave, and you just devoted your life to advocacy for child trafficking, and even 9/11 truth. Maybe you could explain to us, in the last decade, what do you think the most challenging parts of coming alive on some of these issues have been?
Probably the hardest thing, and it continues, is just realizing that pretty much everything that I was told and taught since I was in grade school is probably not true.
And good evening and welcome to the Traffic Report. It's 12:01 on the Eastern Seaboard in the United States of America, as far as I know, Howie.
Wow, you're really switching this up. But the Eastern Seaboard, United States of America. I like this. You got a little DJ in you, don't you?
I guess. Thank you, Missy. Let's do a few shout-outs. You do yours. I'll do mine. And
I actually have a couple, but
yeah, go ahead. Missy's killing me. I guess somebody was having trouble locating the play button, on the UCY thing. So she's got this big picture of it, and it's like circled in yellow. It's like looks like this. Thanks, Missy. So Missy, B, Becky, it's probably your shout out too. Des.
Yeah, well, I wanted to give
all the people that support this show. Oh, God, I gotta see. I always forget Facebook. Rosie, all the people that are following Traffic Report on Facebook. Thank you all, and just a shout out to all of you, because we couldn't do this show without you. So those are my shout outs.
I've been real lackadaisical on Facebook lately, and I need to get on. I up until up until about I'd say about a week ago, maybe 5 days ago, I've been pretty lackadaisical on Twitter. But I went on Pedogate News, hashtag Pedogate News on Twitter, and it's a wonderful thing that people are posting the stories of the arrests and convictions of pedophiles, because you can just scroll down, you can just see what's going on, and V has just done, she works just like it, it's like her, like it's hers. And if we could just get people to take a couple minutes out of the day to search some articles, find the ones that are near and dear to you, and just keep posting these things, because the stories literally do not end. You don't have to go very far, and this stuff needs to be exposed. And if we just put it all on Pedogate News, and we can direct some other people that are unaware of what's going on to that hashtag, then we can get some people to realize the situation that's going on.
This is real, dude. And I'm not going to go into this in too much detail, but a person I've known for 3 years and just thought was, okay, just a person, okay, they're good, they're bad, whatever. I find out is a convicted child rapist. And I mean, this is everywhere you look. And, hopefully people are becoming more aware and putting two and two together. And again, I shout out to Missy. We're going to have an upcoming show about Michael Aquino and the Presidio and the false memory syndrome and how they covered up the Presidio case and McMartin preschool and all that. But you need to become aware of these behaviors. I mean, the narcissism, the sociopath, the psychopath. It's crazy, but you have to learn about crazies, and notice some of these behaviors. Because had I been a little more aware, than I was, I would have found this information out a long time ago, probably. So yeah, we're we're going to be talking about two guys tonight, that are showing some very well. One of them is a convicted pedophile, and the other one is probably an unindicted one. But he definitely has some very.
He definitely is. He definitely is.
Red flag behaviors.
Well, I mean, if you're looking, if you're looking at the video clips of Joe Biden, you're watching him, for all intents and purposes, molest children. I mean, I don't know how touching a child.
Sexual battery, yeah, sexual battery.
Yeah, exactly. I all the different legal terms or whatever, but I mean, to me, that's exactly what it is. So.
Yeah, and the behaviors of these people and the personalities and the narcissism and the just hubris, and it's just unbelievable. And like we were talking about, they won't stop. But the good news is neither will we. So, we're going to have to. This is a fight. Everybody that is in it is got to be in it you got to be in it. 110% and all the way to the end. I mean, because these guys aren't going to give up. They're not going to go away. This asshole I'm dealing with, comes on, goes live on Facebook and starts blaming the victim's family, starts saying he wasn't charged with what he was charged with, which is aggravated statutory rape. He says, oh, well, that's like when you brush up against somebody's breast. And it's like, well, maybe the people that are listening to him should read the statute, because that's talking about penetration of a child. Okay. And that's how you get charged with that. And that's what he pleaded guilty to, penetrating a 15-year-old. Okay. So these people will not stop, and that's okay, because neither will we. So enough about that. I know you had an interesting little trip, which
it didn't work out as I had planned. But I went down. Joe Biden, he's very involved with University of Pennsylvania now, and he went to do a lecture, some type of. It was a global something or other lecture at the University of Pennsylvania with a former president of Mexico. I don't even know the guy's name. And I just want to throw this in there. One of the things that I learned fairly early on is that the age of consent in most Mexican states is 12.
Yeah.
Which I just found to be, and which is the lowest of pretty much anywhere. The only caveat to that is in some Middle Eastern countries, the age of consent is marriage, which also why they have these fake, child marriages type thing. But
weren't we talking about we don't really talk religion too much, because that's really, a very personal topic for people. But this particular religion happens to be the Muslim religion, and they're marrying off 9-year-old kids, and I mean, that's all Muslims don't do that. All Muslims don't accept that.
Sure, absolutely not. Because, but if you see age of consent as marriage, you'd be like, oh, that's pretty harsh. You can't have sex until you're married. But if they're running these marriages with like 8-year-olds, because it's not in our, we don't think in those terms. But apparently they do these things, and it's just, oh man. But the age of consent pretty much throughout Mexico is 12. And part of this thing of these illegal immigrants or any immigrants coming over, and if a guy is 30 years old and he's grown up in a culture where it's okay to have sex with a 12-year-old and it's perfectly legal, well, now he hops over the border.
Yeah.
You think his mindset just goes to whether it's 16 or 18? Absolutely not. He's thinking 12.
Yep. And a lot of the immigrants, obviously, they don't speak the language. They don't know the customs of the country, and
sure.
and they don't come through in a legal manner. So yeah, they're gonna, you think they're gonna know our laws? Probably not.
And that's part of the thing about legal immigration. You have to know certain things, and I would assume that they would, if you're coming from a country where the age of consent is frigging, which is completely absurd that the age of consent in Mexico is 12, and how this is not, just way out there, and because I've tweeted out and people are like, no, it's not. I'm like, you gotta look it up on Wikipedia, dude. What do you? I'm making it up.
Another thing I want to talk about a little bit, and it's kind of about the same thing, but the laws. You need to go to whatever state you live in's website and look at these laws, on child sex crimes, because some of them are ridiculous and just ridiculously lax, and the type of felonies that they're charging for these things. And one thing I noticed was, one of the laws for aggravated child rape is that the kid is 3, and it's like, what? It's like, so what about the 5-year-old? I mean, that's not aggravated. The 8-year-old, that's not aggravated. I mean, we really need to look at our laws and tighten them up a lot. Because these and they're doing better now. But and one of the problems that we've noticed is a lot of these sex offenders are slipping through the net because they're getting plea bargains. They get a good lawyer. The victim doesn't really want to testify, and they string it out over a couple of years, and then the victim really doesn't want to testify, and then the prosecutor's faced with, oh well, I don't get a case at all, or I plea bargain. And part of that plea, a lot of times, is avoiding the registry, avoiding any counseling. I mean, it's insane. And we talk about what you can actually do. That's something you can actually do. You can go out and see what the laws are in your state, and any of these offenders, you can find them and you can find their offenses. And if they've skipped the registry, you can make a registry. Okay, that's public record. If somebody rapes a kid and somehow they're not on the sex offender registry, you can make one yourself for these people. This is public record. It can be disseminated and it should be. I don't want a sex offender walking around or living next door to me and I don't know it. I hope people take and there's a lot of very easy, good tools available. And, we're going to do a show one night on that, maybe 2 nights, about how you can identify these people, how you can find them, and how you can, protect your kids by, getting somebody that might have slipped through the net of the sex offender registry. And the registry programs themselves, the guy moves to another state and registers, then he comes off the state. There's a lot of problems there, and it's just, it hasn't been a priority, and it's not going to be a priority unless the individual citizens of whatever community and whatever state make it a priority. So I'm done with that part, and I want to.
No, you're right, John. It's not a priority, and I went in my mind, the issue of child sex abuse and child trafficking is an epidemic. And as I'm typing in my my search bar, child sex abuse epidemic is coming up. And because I said, let me see if anybody's calling this an epidemic. And, back in, there's a CNN article back in 2001. Maybe I tweeted it out. Maybe we should tweet it out on the traffic report. And this is, ironically, September 11th, 2001. I mean, don't ask me why CNN had it on that day. But study.
Steve, now you mentioned that date and you've triggered me.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to because I remember seeing it. I'm like, CNN put it out on September 11th, 2001.
I was going to tell you this after the show, but I'll just quickly tell you now. We can probably.
That's okay. Yeah, whatever you do.
Go on Netflix tonight. Anybody listening, share it. Tell your friends. The name of the documentary is called The Good American. And what it's about is a guy who worked for the NSA. He was basically a genius, this guy. And I mean, you cannot just stop watching this movie. It's so fascinating. And he used he was a genius mathematician and used that information he created metadata, the metadata that's in our electronic media now. This guy was doing it with a pen and paper, and he could tell what the Russian troops movements were before they ever made them. I mean, the guy is just incredible. So he works all that time. He works on a program that would have kept track of all of this. He put in privacy safeguards so the American people's privacy wouldn't be violated. Just a genius system. So what's his name? The bald-headed guy that was the CIA chief and the NSA chief under Bush, Hayden. Hayden comes in to the NSA and just blows this guy up, right before 9/11, like a couple of months, that program's down. Okay. It's not going forward. And just listen to these people involved. They're all whistleblowers, and just, I won't give any more, but it is critical. If you want to understand corruption, how it exists, how it affects, the country that we're in, and child trafficking and every other screwed up thing that's going on, watch this movie because it shows the culture of corruption and how our government allowed.
What's the name of the movie?
The Good American. The
Good American. Now, I just want to hit on this article from CNN.com that was released September 11th, 2001. If you just search child sex abuse epidemic, it'll be one of the few articles. So in CNN.com, study child sex abuse epidemic in the United States, and the first paragraph, a study released Monday revealed that between 300,000 and 400,000 U.S. children, many from middle-class homes, are victims of some type of sexual exploitation every year. Now, this is 2001. 300,000 and 400,000. A 3-year study funded in part by the U.S. Department of Justice analyzed the problem of sexual exploitation, particularly commercial sexual exploitation of children in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. So the U.S. Department of Justice knows in 2001 that between 300,000 and 400,000 U.S. children are being sexually exploited. Now, this is now 15, 16 years later. And people still, how was this never made a priority? I'm at an utter loss. I mean, if somebody would have told me this, I'm completely oblivious to this in 2001. 300,000, 400,000 children each year.
Well, don't worry, because the Alert Sense, who blocks me on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
And, I don't know how the National Center hasn't blocked me, but they haven't yet. But yeah, they have this well under control, Howie.
Oh, absolutely. Well, they're dealing with runaways, so national centers, 90% dealing with runways. But anyway, you know,
let's talk about
I,
Joe. Let's talk about Uncle Joe.
I did want to get back to Joe because
I'm sorry. Sorry, I
I
digressed.
wanted to, he was down at the University of Pennsylvania and he's with this, ex-Mexican president, and they're talking about whatever the heck they're talking about. But I felt like I could get to him and I could get close to him, and I was expecting, people that watch me on Periscope today, I was expecting him to be rolling up in, black SUVs, as Hillary does, as I've seen him do before when he was vice president, because I went to a couple of his rallies when he was going out for Hillary, and but he didn't roll up in SUVs today. He just kind of walked across campus, so I missed him going into the event. I waited during the event where he went in, and he did not come out through that event, through that entrance. So I did not get to see Joe Biden today. I did not get to tell him that he's a pedophile. He didn't get to see my sign, but a lot of people in Philadelphia did get to see my sign, and it was some people were actually kind of aware of it. I was a little surprised. I mean, it was like a mixed reaction. It was just people walking, down the street. It wasn't the busiest of intersections, but I got some interaction with people, and it just felt good to be out there again. I really, but I really wanted to confront him, and so now, knowing that he's going around, he's opening up this Biden. He's part of a Biden Center of Global thing, and it has to do with Penn, but he's opening up an office in Washington, D.C. So
the Biden Foundation.
No. This is not the Biden Foundation. This is like a Biden Global Initiative or something.
Jesus Christ!
They're on Twitter. They're on Twitter at Penn Biden. Yeah.
Isn't that
at
doesn't
Penn?
Make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up when you because I mean what I hear was
I don't know. But most of the people today, I mean, they were pretty laid back. I mean, my sign said Joe Biden is a pedophile, hashtag pedo Joe. So I mean, it's pretty succinct. And a lot of people were smiling and walking by. And if I saw a sign like that, I see, like, a lot of people didn't want to look. It's like they see the word pedophile. It's like, get away from
divert your eyes.
But, but the people that were smiling and just laughing about it, I was like, come back and talk to me. Actually, one kid, I'll give you a story. He was walking by. He's like, don't you need to find something better to do with your time. And he was walking by kind of quickly. I said, whoa, come here, talk to me. I'm a person. And he actually, he paused for a sec, and he came back, and he's like, what's this all about? So he had no idea what it was all about. Don't you have something better to do with your time? And I explained to him, watch these clips, of these Senate swearing in, and watch him, touching children,
sexually
battering children, right on camera. And I wanted to, for people that haven't seen the clips, I would hope they've seen them. You retweeted, a bunch of them. I tweeted them out to the Traffic report, and the way I came across this, I don't even. It was on a website, and they were saying that Joe Biden is a pedophile. And I'm like, that naturally just piqued my interest. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I've never heard anything like this. And the most infamous one is of Joe with Chris Coons' daughter. Chris Coons being the senator from Delaware, obviously Joe Biden's state, where he is leaning in and making this girl feel incredibly uncomfortable. And anybody that watches
that's the little red-haired girl, isn't it?
That's the red-haired girl, yes. Yeah. And but I watch these things. I watch them from all different angles. I've just seen them too many times. Now people generally focus in on that. I focused in on the mother because when Joe is doing this, the mother is literally looking away. Like she is in, like she knows what's going on, and like can't even look. And it says to me what she she's obviously involved in something. She knows what Joe's about to do, and cannot do anything about it. And meanwhile, Chris Coons, the senator from Delaware, is sitting there with a big goofy grin on his face. So
yeah,
I mean,
hilarious. That's why I couldn't. I couldn't do what you do, Howie. I couldn't, because if I was holding that sign and I saw somebody walk by and laugh at it, I mean, I think I'd go like all Joe Pesci on him. It's like,
yeah. Well, I mean,
funny. What?
Yeah.
Funny how? Funny.
Right. Well, no, I was, I mean, I was, it was a little different dynamic today because I was actually periscoping. So, I'm like, I'm saying like, hey, come talk to me. Like, what's so funny? Is there something funny about this? And it wasn't.
I could understand. I could understand them being angry.
Sure.
But
sure.
funny.
But when people, right. When this smile, it's almost like they know. It's almost like they know, and if there's someone that if I liked, then they would be, or I knew, or someone famous, I would be like, I'd be at the very least, what are you talking about? And some people did do that too, but there were quite a few people smiling, but and there were some people that actually knew. Some people, I mean, there was someone drove by in a car, and it was a woman, and she gave me the thumbs. She honked her horn, and I'm like, "Are you honking your horn?" Because I haven't heard a horn honk in a while because I haven't been out my intersection in forever. But I looked, and she was giving me the thumbs up. Like so some people do know, and but these videos.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I just it's like that has been on. C-SPAN, all over YouTube.
All over
YouTube. Why is this man even able to walk in public without somebody saying, "Hey, what's up with you touching the little girls?" He managed to avoid you, but that's what your sign was saying, and I know that's what probably would have come out of your mouth, And why is it? Why is there one guy there, that has to, make a sign, and put up with these idiots that are laughing, and the whole, we'll say at least half of the audience, or a third of it, or a quarter of it isn't saying, "What the fuck is your problem, buddy? What are you doing?"
Right, because I mean there are at least 5 videos where you're like, I mean, Mitch, the first one, I found the Mitch McConnell video. Now, Mitch McConnell is married to Elaine Chao. Elaine Chao is now the Secretary of, I believe, Transportation under Trump.
I believe
now,
so,
for 8 years under Bush, she was the Secretary of Labor, I believe. Okay, and if I have these wrong, it's one or the other. So she's Secretary of Labor under Bush from 2001 to 2008, and she's Taiwanese. And I don't believe that Mitch McConnell and Elaine Chao have children. Now the girls that were brought before Joe were Elaine Chao's nieces, and they're very Asian looking. There were 2 girls, and the 2 girls are the one is put in front of Joe, the one is off to the side, and Joe is literally touching, and she's about, I would say they're somewhere around 8 and 9 years old, the 2 sisters, and Joe with the one is touching, literally kissing her head and touching her chest. slowly touching her chest, to the point where the sister is looking and being like, is somebody going to do something? The sister knows. Now you're watching this. I mean, you're watching this right on a video. And this video is unbelievable. The Mitch McConnell. And he's standing there, with his goofy turtle grin on his face. Elaine Chao is. And it is absolutely positively. I mean, I remember seeing this for the first time last October, and my heart was, in my stomach, or my heart was in my throat, whatever.
You must have posted 20 of those clips, and I looked at two. I looked at two, and I couldn't look anymore. I just couldn't. It's just like
And I was saying on Periscope today, because initially I had 6, and this is when I was very new to Twitter. This is one of the first things, and I went on C-SPAN and I watched the entire thing, and I found 6. This is from 2015. Joe Biden has done 4 Senate ceremonial swearing-ins: 2011, 2013, 2015, and 2017. So his most egregious was in 2015, where he was in some kind of mood that day, and he was fondling a lot of kids. Now, on the ones where he's not fondling children, he's saying things to girls 7 years old. Just remember, no dates until you're 30. Now, this who? Now you're at a Senate. You're swearing in senators. Who is going to see nieces or nephews or children or grandchildren and look at 7, 8, 9-year-old girls and say, "Remember, no dates until you're 30."
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, and the behaviors and the pathology in these sex offenders, because that's what they are, and inappropriate comments. I mean, red flag.
Oh, way red flag. Oh, his inappropriateness. One I tweeted out. I just, and I really wanted to do this, and it's my fault because I really wanted to do an old. I don't know how to edit videos and stuff. I really wanted to take all the clips, and I wanted to make
iMovie. Get it? It's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Now well, if I learn how to do that, and I've been meaning to, because I wanted to take, because there's compilations out there, but I mean literally I have there's more than what people than even people know, and what people have, the compilations that people have made are bad enough, are absolutely bad enough. But
yeah.
Oh, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, Harry Reid, I believe. Harry Reid, I believe it's his granddaughter, and her name is Mia. Now, Harry Reid does his thing, blah, 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 and then Mia is walked up to Joe, and the look, and it's retweeted on the Traffic Report. The look on Joe's face, he's like, "Hi, Mia. How old are you?" Like, I mean, he's like, come on, dude. Like, enamored. His hands are all over this girl. She is uncomfortable as uncomfortable can be. And I don't even know what to say. I mean, I've seen these things so many times. I've talked about them. I've tweeted them, and you're right. How people are not going up to Joe and being like, "Joe, I'm going to curse here. What the fuck, dude? What the fuck are you doing at that particular moment? What are you doing? Like, what are you fucking kidding me, dude?" And he doesn't care. And he does not care. And the senators don't care. The parents don't care. The grandparents don't care.
It's insane. Did you post the one where Sessions, grabs a little girl away from him?
Yeah, I mean that one is it's a little ambiguous because her hair might have been caught on something, but um, Jeff Sessions really you could tell that he wanted to get out of there. He wanted to get out of there. He even if it was like Joe, like he was trying to like her hair might have been caught on something. I don't know. Joe was like going to reach, but he was like, I got it, whatever. But he definitely was out of there. Now, in that vein, there's one of my favorites, and I also tweeted out and you retweeted it. I hope was Marco Rubio, and this is in 2011. Now, Rubio's wife she's pretty attractive. Um, so they do the little swearing in, and as soon as it's over, Joe leans in and says something to Rubio's wife. I don't know you can't really hear it, and Marco's standing there like, like patting it, like, come on, Joe, come on, like calm down. Like he's like, I mean, he's like leaning in. I mean, just watch it. I mean, just watch him. I tweeted him out, and hopefully you retweeted it. The next thing happens. Now they bring in the family. Marco Rubio and his wife have two daughters. At the time they were in 2011, I believe they were 8ish, and Joe's hands all over one of the daughters, and the other person that was there was Marco Rubio's mother. So Joe leans in, he says something incredibly inappropriate to Rubio's wife, where Rubio's like, "Come on, Joe, Joe." Then with the daughters, then the pictures are done. Rubio cannot wait to get. He's like, "Come on, let's get out of here!" Like, he's like 40 years old. He's like, he's got like, I mean, I think he doesn't realize what is going on here. Now the mom is still there, and then Joe starts playing. He's got his forehead to the forehead of Rubio's mother. So I call that like 3 generations. He's got the wife, he's got the kids, and then he's got the mother. I mean the dude's it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah. And we talked about that too. It's generational. These these assholes, and the other component of it is they all believe that they can do whatever the hell they want to, and they're not going to get caught. And most of the time, they're right. Because that's the society, that's the culture they've been brought up in, and a lot of them, have been molested as children. That's how this whole cycle, goes on, and we're breaking some of it because, and one of the good parts of some of the laws that went into effect, that they're required to get treatment, and you might be able to break that cycle,
Sure.
So yeah. But
on that topic, I don't know.
The President of the United States, for Christ's sake, really, basically sexually battering kids on TV, and nobody says jack shit. Ridiculous.
Getting back to the Mitch McConnell one with his nieces, the Asian nieces. One incredibly interesting point of it was when Joe started going in and literally, and I'm not exaggerating, literally touching her chest, like rubbing her chest. It was his right hand getting very close to her right chest, and the camera literally zoomed in. And after watching it a bunch of times, it's like, well, wait a second, why is the camera zooming in on this? So I actually called C-SPAN, and I was
I'm familiar with your C-SPAN calls, Howie.
No, I didn't call like the show. I actually called the person like who works there. And I said, I was watching this. I'm like, your cameraman, zooms in on this. So like, what kind of like, what is up with that? The cameramen have nothing to do with C-SPAN. They are Senate employees. So, think of C-SPAN as just a conduit of what happens. Like that, there's a forum. So the cameraman was a Senate cameraman who obviously knew what was going on and was kind of like in on it. But if you watch the Mitch McConnell one, where when he goes to start touching this 8-year-old girl's chest, and I mean the look on her face is just it's horrific, and the sister too. But
you're not going to like this, Howie. Sorry, I got to break in. This is from Missy in the Twitter line.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus. Check this out. BidenFoundation.org. Former Vice President Joe Biden urged more than 800 activists on a Friday phone call to pressure their universities and the Trump administration to uphold protections for rape victims. The administration does not speak for the American people on this issue, Biden said on the call, according to a readout obtained exclusively by BuzzFeed. So this child rapist.
Yeah. He is. I mean, I just know he is, but yeah.
Don't you think that's well? Thanks, Missy. I'll have a headache for the next hour, but thank you.
I mean, talk about like throwing it, laughing in your face.
Jesus.
Joe Biden. He also went. Joe Biden. He went to. I want to say. I'm going to look now. It just popped into my head. George Mason University. To talk about campus rape. Joe Biden comes to George Mason on its campus, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, back in April, Joe Biden speaks about sexual assault at George Mason University in Fairfax, Virginia. That's who they picked. And he was like a no means. I mean, it's just mind boggling. But these videos need to be, and they were even pushed by like Infowars too. Let people make up their own minds. I mean, I could talk about these things for. I mean, I see them I see them right now. I see them when I close my eyes, and the things that he's done, the things that he said, the girls, it's just absolutely unbelievable. But the bottom line is, I missed him today, and it would have been nice to get him when there was a former Mexican president there, so he would have been like, yeah. So
nothing like embarrassing him. Well, and you probably would have been yelling at the Mexican president. What's up with the 12-year-old age of consent? Hammered.
Yeah, right. Oh, what? Exactly. I mean, seriously, 12 years.
And let's be, let's not miss this while we're talking about it. That's what they're trying to do. That's what all these assholes are trying to do. They're trying to normalize pedophilia. They're trying to lower the age of consent, and so they can rape our kids at will, and there's nothing we can do about it. And
I don't think they ever lowered it in Mexico. I mean, that's just all. It's just kind of been. I was like,
no, but I mean, I don't mean Mexico specifically, but the movement.
Well, I'm talking about Mexico specifically. Like, what the fuck, Mexico? Yeah. Hello, Mexico. Yeah. Like 12 is okay. Yeah. I mean, there's no age restrictions.
And
it's not like
these assholes like NAMBLA and Heart Progress and all that. That's not low enough for them. They want it lower. They don't want it to exist. They believe and espouse that any sex between two human creatures is okay. That's what these psychopaths, sociopaths, narcissists, apologists, scumbags, that's their agenda. They want to excuse their behavior. They want to say the laws don't apply to them. Well, guess what? They do. So, are we gonna? I don't know if we're gonna have time for cousin Anthony.
Well, yeah, we can get to him. I mean, I don't know. Maybe
I'd have to do a two-parter because there's a lot to little Anthony's story.
He's been sentenced and everything, but I think we'll harp on Mr. Weiner a little bit later because. I mean, talk about the ultimate sociopath. I mean, you get to it, but I mean, there's a few more things. You mentioned we're talking about the generational thing. I found, I mean, this is off topic, obviously still on topic, Australian town where they found that did you see my tweet? 90% of school-age children have been sexually abused. 90%. They are, it's, what's that called? Aborigines?
Yeah, the Aboriginal population.
Yeah, Aboriginals. It's that kind of town or whatever, and it used to have some type of industry there that washed away, and there's high incidence of alcoholism and unemployment, but 90%.
Yep, and I'll tell you,
now that obvious, which to me is 100%. Like, who are the 10% that didn't get,
And I'll tell you what, and what these evil fucks that run the world have done, because that in those native populations before the English showed up, that never happened. I mean, there was nothing like that in their culture. It just didn't happen. You look back into the Native American population in this country, and the Aboriginal population, and that was something that was taught to these people. Okay, and not only that, but also the substance abuse, and that's how they went in and decimated these native populations, and turned them into a disaster. And where did they get it? The good old city of London. Just beyond.
Yeah,
disgusting.
but when I saw that, I'm thinking like, you basically blow up the town, and they said, I mean, it's, obviously didn't just pop up that all of a sudden 90% were being sexually abused, but they said, I mean, it's almost part of this. It's normal. It is in this town. It was normalized. I can.
Yeah, and we need to. Hopefully, we'll do a show on Australia, because even, talking about those populations in those towns, and it's an epidemic everywhere. But my God, the stuff that has gone on in Australia, it's so weird that Scientology, it was a part of that, and just all these pedophile satanic networks, ritual abuse. I mean, it's like somehow a little worse than a lot of places in the world, and that's starting to. And I think it's very good that the number 3 at the Vatican is being tried there for hundreds of cases of child rape, and we need to follow up on it and see how his trial is going.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Number 3, the Pope gave him the time off, though.
Yeah,
he's on paid administrative leave.
Yeah, somebody had tweeted out something that the Pope had come out and said that the Catholic Church they hadn't done enough to address the problem within the church. I
don't think they've done anything. They've talked to.
My response to that was like, file this article under duh. Like, they haven't done it. They've fucking done enough, and they're still.
Well, and it's not just the church. Let's take the keepers, for example. The Baltimore County Prosecutor's Office and the state government has a list of 80 child raping priests that the diocese said, yep, these guys did this. And you know the answer to this question, Howie. How many have been prosecuted? Zero. I got it. We're trying. I'm trying. Gemma is real. I mean, those women, Gemma and the other lady, I can't remember her name, and I think there's another one. And there's a great page, the Justice for Catherine Sesnick, and it's on Facebook. And if you're on Facebook, please join it, because they've built up a very big community of survivors, in that area, and I think they're going to get something done because those women don't play, and that we were talking about that last week. I think the survivors are going to lead us out of this epidemic. They're the ones with.
They have to. They absolutely. It's a good transition. I wasn't really going to, bring it up today, and I just want to mention Becky. She's going through some stuff right now. It will come to light, but we can tweet, we can talk about, we can expose, but there's. I don't know how to say this maybe even properly. John, as you and I sit here and talk right now, children are being raped. I mean, at this very moment.
Undoubtedly.
Right. And we're a little, even you and I, we don't get it, because we're not a part of that world.
No.
And at some point we're going to have to take this a little deeper. The stories, they just don't hit hard enough. And Becky, obviously she knows the truth, and the truth has come back on her a little bit, and it'll come to light in the next few months how evil and sadistic these people are. But at some point, I've been saying it over and over again, like, it's basically like we got to shit or get off the pot. Like, we have to do something. We have to start doing something to help these children. We absolutely, positively. I don't know. Nobody has the answers because we're not. We can't just go in and.
I do. I got one of them. You need to, at least in your hometown, wherever you live.
Yeah.
Get out and be active.
Yeah.
Whether it's hold a sign like somebody I know, whether it's going into schools, whether it's going down and finding out what your child rape laws are and how they're being enforced and how your kids are being protected.
It's it's right, and that word is awareness, to let people know and put it into with all the other things that they have to work think about, break through that. But like, people don't want to think about this shit. They just don't want to think about it. But somehow, some way, you got to stand there and say, this is happening. This is reality. And, it has to be done because, like I said, we can tweet and we can Facebook and we can social media and we can, have ourselves. There are children out there hurting, and there are people that need our help. So, I just want Becky to know that I'm thinking about her, and I absolutely love her to death, and would do anything for her, and I just hope she knows that.
Yeah, I think she does, and I would just have to say the same. All of these. I mean, every one of them so far, and some that haven't been on the show that I've had the privilege to get to know a little bit. They're like angels to me, Howie. I mean, there's something about them that is supernatural, because they're all some of the smartest people I've ever run across or spoken with. Yeah. They're some of the strongest people that I've ever.
Strong beyond, anything that I could, any friggin' sign that I could ever hold. I mean, I can't even, that's what I'm saying. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine, because look how many people it absolutely breaks. And these people, and they're just so unbelievably strong, brave. I mean, that's bravery that,
I know this would be a small number, just in this country, but can you imagine what would happen if a million of them, showed up in Washington?
Yeah.
I mean, the buildings would tumble.
Right. Right. These rallies that they're putting together for this, that, and the other thing, but we can't have a rally for sexually abused children. Well, come April 28th, that's all going to change.
Yeah, get out your calendar and mark that down. April 28th, 2018, in Washington D.C. And hopefully it'll make the mother of all rallies look like a coffee, a few people getting together for coffee. I mean, yeah. I'm hoping to see, pictures of like, Martin Luther King's March on Washington, where you can't even see, the background for the people, and because it's going to take that, something like that, because we're waiting. We hear this. Oh, this is going to happen by this time. This is going to happen. And just a quick shout out to Tim Hotham. I've been talking with, who actually, and he is in the process of getting with Sibel Edmonds and Newsbud, and they are incredible. Trish.
Really?
Trish Negron set that up and is also writing about him. And
fantastic.
That case, and just a shout out to Tim, because Tim is, and there's something we're actually, what we've talked about, and what I'm going to try to do is help Tim with a GoFundMe account, because he is barely making ends meet, and he's got this, epic fight on his hands that he's dropped everything in his life to be able to pursue, and pursues it very well, and basically solved the murder. And with all the crap that I see go to GoFundMe accounts, I'm like, why in the hell can't you have? And he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't. But you know what? We can do it for him. We can help with that, and it's very simple. It's there. If the people want to help, they help. If they don't, they don't. But all the garbage people, donate to on GoFundMe. So that's in the works. We haven't, I've gotten his permission to go forward with it. I'm going to need some help with it, because I'm no fundraiser, but I think the appeal and he's the story is coming forth with Trish and hopefully Sibel, and I'm hoping, that this will all, just keep moving this in the right direction. Keep the pressure on, because as we, that's what we talked about when we're just about to get nailed by the music. But, this, we have to keep moving, it's even, you can slow down, you got to take a rest sometimes. But
as the music comes, I want to just give one quick plug. I will be in Brooklyn tomorrow to see Hillary Clinton at the Greenlight Bookstore. So look for me on Periscope, please.
Look for Howie. I'll be retweeting the hell out of that one. Hey, send me a text one of these times when you do that.
All right,
alert me.
Right. Brooklyn, baby, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.